The principal stormed into lunch and yelled, "Who owns a green backpack?" Principal Garrett's face was red. Not pink, not flushed. Red like he'd been holding his breath underwater for 2 minutes. He burst through the cafeteria doors so hard they slammed against the walls. The entire room went silent. 300 students froze mid-bite. He stood there, scanning faces, chest heaving. Then he screamed it. "Who owns a green backpack?" 6 hands went up. Mine was one of them. Big mistake. 2 security guards appeared behind him. Officer Banks and Officer Reyes, both with hands on their belts. Principal Garrett pointed at us. "You 6, with me. Now. Leave everything." I looked at my best friend Kareem. He mouthed what the hell, but I couldn't answer. I stood up with the others. Priya from art class, Leo from varsity basketball, 2 freshman girls I didn't know, David Nguyen with his ever-present headphones. We walked toward the principal like we were heading to our own execution. 300 students watched us go. Nobody made a sound. We followed Principal Garrett down the main hallway. The security guards walked behind us, blocking any chance of running. Not that I'd run. I hadn't done anything wrong. My green backpack was just a backpack. JanSport, bought on sale at Target last August. Nothing special, nothing illegal. But Principal Garrett's face said otherwise. He walked fast, not looking back, his dress shoes clicking against linoleum like a countdown timer. Click, click, click. We passed empty classrooms, past the library, past the gym. Where were we going? The principal's office was in the other direction. We turned down the science wing, past chemistry labs and biology rooms with their posters of DNA helixes and periodic tables, past the teacher's lounge where I could see Ms. Holloway drinking coffee through the window. She looked up as we passed, her expression shifting from casual to concerned when she saw the security guards. We kept walking. Principal Garrett pushed through the doors at the end of the hall, the ones that led to the auxiliary building. This part of the school was barely used. Just storage rooms and the old auditorium they'd condemned after the ceiling leak last year. Why were we here? Principal Garrett stopped in front of room 142, the old drama storage room. He pulled out a key and unlocked it. The room was dim, just one overhead light that flickered when he hit the switch. Metal shelves lined the walls, filled with old props and costume pieces covered in dust. There was a table in the center with 6 chairs arranged around it. "Sit," Principal Garrett said. His voice had dropped from shouting to something lower, more controlled. Somehow, that was worse. We sat. The 2 security guards stood by the door. Officer Banks crossed his arms. Officer Reyes pulled out his phone and started typing something. The principal paced in front of us. Back and forth, back and forth. The freshman girls were crying quietly. Priya gripped the edge of the table. Leo's leg bounced nervously. David had his headphones around his neck now, his face pale. I tried to make eye contact with any of them, tried to find some clue about what was happening. Nobody would look at me. Principal Garrett finally stopped pacing and turned to face us. "One of you brought something to school today. Something that doesn't belong here. Something dangerous." My stomach dropped. Dangerous? What could be in a backpack that would cause this kind of reaction? "We're going to do this the easy way or the hard way," Principal Garrett continued. His voice was steady now, almost calm. That scared me more than the yelling. "The easy way is someone confesses right now, tells me exactly what's in their backpack and where it is. The hard way involves police searches and everyone's parents being called. So I'm going to ask one more time." He leaned forward, hands flat on the table. "Who brought it?" Nobody spoke. The room was so quiet, I could hear the fluorescent light buzzing above us. One of the freshman girls was shaking. Principal Garrett straightened up and nodded to Officer Banks. Officer Banks stepped forward and pulled out a notepad. "We're going to ask you each some questions, one at a time, starting with you." He pointed at Leo. "Come with me." Leo stood up slowly, his basketball jersey hanging loose on his frame. He followed Officer Banks into the hallway. The door closed behind them. We could hear muffled voices through the walls, but couldn't make out words. Principal Garrett stayed in the room with us, arms crossed, watching. Officer Reyes stood by the door still typing on his phone. The minutes crawled by. 5 minutes. 10. 15. What were they asking Leo out there? The door opened and Leo came back in. His face was unreadable. Officer Banks gestured to Priya. "You're next." Priya stood up, her hands trembling. She followed Banks into the hallway. The door closed again. I tried to catch Leo's eye, but he was staring at the table, jaw clenched. What had they asked him? What had he said? The waiting was torture. My mind raced through everything in my backpack. Books, notebooks, pens, my calculator, a half-eaten granola bar, my gym clothes that probably smelled terrible. Nothing dangerous. Nothing that would warrant this. Priya came back after 20 minutes. Her eyes were red like she'd been crying. Officer Banks pointed at one of the freshman girls. "Your turn." The girl stood up so fast her chair scraped against the floor. She was shaking badly as she walked into the hallway. I could hear her voice through the door, high-pitched and scared. She was talking fast, words tumbling over each other. Then quiet, then more talking. She came back in after 15 minutes looking devastated. Officer Banks pointed at the second freshman girl. She was crying before she even stood up. When she came back, Officer Banks looked at David and me. "You two, let's go." We both stood. David's hands were shoved deep in his pockets. We followed Officer Banks into the hallway. Officer Reyes joined us, leaving Principal Garrett alone with the other four. Banks led us further down the hall to two separate classrooms across from each other. You, he pointed at David, in here, then to me. You, in there. I walked into the empty classroom. It was one of the old science labs with black countertops and gas outlets for Bunsen burners. Officer Reyes followed me in and closed the door. He gestured to a stool. I sat. He pulled out his notepad. Name? Kyle Brennan. He wrote it down. Grade? Junior. He nodded. Tell me about your backpack. Kyle. Describe it. I described it. Green JanSport. 2 main compartments. Side pockets for water bottles. A small front pocket for pens. Nothing special. He wrote everything down. When did you buy it? Last August, before school started. My mom got it at Target. He nodded again. What's in it right now? I listed everything I could remember. Textbooks for history and English. My math notebook. Pencil case. Calculator. Gym clothes. Deodorant. That granola bar I'd started eating, 3rd period. Anything else? Officer Reyes asked. His tone was neutral, but his eyes were sharp, watching my face for any tell. No, probably some old papers at the bottom. Stuff I forgot to clean out. But nothing important. He wrote more notes. Where is your backpack right now? My locker. Number 247. Wait, that number's forbidden. My locker. Number 312. He wrote it down. Anyone else have access to your locker? No, just me. Well, the school has master keys, but no other students. He nodded. Has anyone asked to borrow your backpack recently? Put something in it? Use it for anything? No. Why would they? Officer Reyes didn't answer my question. He just kept writing. Then he looked up. Kyle, this is important. Did you bring anything to school today that could be considered a weapon? Anything that could hurt someone? My heart started pounding. No, absolutely not. I swear I didn't bring anything like that. He studied my face for a long moment. If you're protecting someone, now is the time to say something. If someone put something in your backpack without your knowledge, you need to tell me. I don't know anything. I swear. My backpack is just a normal backpack with normal school stuff. Officer Reyes closed his notepad. Wait here. He left the room. I sat there alone with my thoughts spiraling. A weapon? Someone had brought a weapon to school in a green backpack? My backpack was green, but I hadn't brought anything, which meant one of the other 5 had. But who? And what kind of weapon? A knife? A gun? Something else? My hands were shaking. I'd raised my hand and volunteered myself as a suspect for something I didn't do. How was I going to prove my innocence? Would they believe me? Would they search all our lockers? What if they found something in mine that someone else had planted? The door opened. Officer Reyes came back in with Principal Garrett. The principal's face was still red, but now he looked tired too, exhausted. He sat down on one of the stools across from me. Kyle, I've known you since you were a freshman. Good grades. No disciplinary issues. Your teachers speak highly of you. He paused. So I'm going to ask you directly. Did you bring a gun to school today? The word hit me like a physical blow. A gun. Someone had brought a gun. No, I said. My voice came out shaky. No, I didn't. I would never. Principal Garrett nodded slowly. Okay, I believe you. But we're going to need to search your locker and your backpack anyway, for elimination purposes. Do we have your permission? Yes, absolutely. Search whatever you want. He stood up. Officer Reyes will escort you to your locker. You'll open it and step back. He'll conduct the search. If everything checks out, you'll be released back to class. Understood? I nodded. We walked back down the hallway, past the room where the others were waiting. I could see them through the small window in the door, all sitting in various states of anxiety. David was being led out of his classroom by Officer Banks. We reached my locker on the 2nd floor. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely work the combination. First try failed. Second try failed. Third time, I got it open. My green backpack sat on the top shelf exactly where I'd left it that morning. Officer Reyes pulled on latex gloves. He lifted the backpack out carefully, set it on the floor, and unzipped the main compartment. He pulled out my textbooks one by one, checked inside each one, then my notebooks, then my pencil case. He unzipped every pocket, felt along every seam. He found my gym clothes and grimaced at the smell but kept searching. The granola bar, my calculator, some crumpled papers, nothing that shouldn't be there. He looked up at me. This everything? Yes, sir. He rezipped the backpack and stood up. Okay, you're clear. Go back to lunch. Relief flooded through me so intensely, I felt dizzy. What about the others? Officer Reyes's expression hardened. Not your concern. Go. I grabbed my backpack and headed back toward the cafeteria. My legs felt weak. I'd been cleared, but that meant one of the other 5 had brought a gun to school. Had it with them. Right now. Who? I kept walking, but my mind was racing. I needed to know who. I needed to know why. I reached the cafeteria entrance and paused. The cafeteria was still half full of students. Lunch period had another 30 minutes. Kareem spotted me immediately and waved me over. I sat down at our table and he immediately started asking questions. Dude, what was that about? Where did they take you? I lowered my voice. Someone brought a gun to school, in a green backpack. Kareem's eyes went wide. What? Are you serious? Dead serious. They questioned all of us. Searched my locker. I'm cleared, but one of the other 5 has it. Kareem looked toward the cafeteria doors like he expected someone to come through them shooting. Who do you think it is? I thought about the other 5. Leo was a good student, popular, college-bound on a basketball scholarship, didn't fit the profile. Priya was quiet, artistic, always drawing in the margins of her papers. Couldn't imagine her bringing a weapon. The 2 freshman girls had looked genuinely terrified, not like they were hiding something. That left David. David Nguyen with his headphones and his tendency to keep to himself. But was that fair? Was I profiling him just because he was quiet? I realized I didn't actually know anything about any of them. Not really. Anyone could be hiding anything. 20 minutes passed. Then Officer Banks appeared in the cafeteria doorway. He scanned the room and his eyes locked on our table. He walked over. Kyle Brennan? Yeah? Come with me, please. My stomach dropped. I thought I was cleared. Why did they need me again? I followed Officer Banks back down the hallway. We didn't go to the auxiliary building this time. We went to the main office. The conference room door was open. Inside, I could see Principal Garrett, Officer Reyes, and a woman in a police uniform I didn't recognize. Detective, based on the badge on her belt. She had short gray hair and sharp eyes that assessed me as I walked in. Sit down, Kyle, Principal Garrett said. I sat. The detective introduced herself as Detective Linda Voss. Kyle, we need to ask you a few more questions. You said you didn't recognize anyone putting anything in your backpack, correct? Correct. And you said your locker is only accessible to you? Yes. She nodded. Do you have your phone with you? Yes. Can I see it, please? I handed it over, unlocked. She scrolled through my messages, my recent calls, my photos. She stopped on something and her expression changed. Kyle, can you explain this text message? She turned the phone around to show me. The message was from 3 days ago, from a number I didn't recognize. The text read, "Still on for Friday? Green backpack by the gym doors? Don't forget." I stared at it. I don't know what that is. I didn't respond to it. Detective Voss scrolled down. There was my response. Got it. See you then. My blood ran cold. I didn't send that. I swear I didn't send that. She raised an eyebrow. This is your phone? Yes, but I didn't send that message. Someone else must have. Who has access to your phone? Nobody. I mean, I leave it in my locker during gym class, but it's password protected. Detective Voss exchanged a look with Principal Garrett. Kyle, this message indicates you are planning to meet someone, to deliver or receive a green backpack by the gym doors on Friday. Today is Friday. I know how this looks, but I didn't send that message. Check the timestamp. What time does it say I sent it? She looked. 2:47 p.m. I was in math class at 2:47, 4th period. Mrs. Chen. Wait, that name's forbidden. Mrs. Thompson's class. She can verify I was there the whole time. Check the attendance records. Officer Reyes was already on his computer pulling up the information. He nodded. Confirms he was in class. Detective Voss wasn't satisfied. So, someone else sent this message from your phone during 4th period. Who? I don't know. My phone was in my locker. Anyone with access to my locker combination could have done it. Who knows your combination? I thought about it. Just me. And I guess Kareem, my best friend. I told him the combination once when I needed him to grab my calculator. Detective Voss wrote something down. Kareem's last name? Okafor. But he wouldn't do this. He's my best friend. He has a blue backpack anyway. We'll need to talk to him regardless. They let me leave the conference room but told me to stay on campus. I went back to the cafeteria, but lunch period had ended. Students were flooding the hallways heading to 5th period. I saw Kareem near his locker and grabbed his arm. Dude, they found a text on my phone. Someone sent a message about a green backpack. They're going to question you. Kareem's face went pale. What? Why me? Because you know my locker combination. They think you might have used my phone. Kyle, I swear I didn't touch your phone. I would never. I know. I told them that. Just tell them the truth. Before he could respond, Officer Banks appeared. Kareem Okafor? Come with me, please. Kareem shot me a panicked look before following Officer Banks toward the main office. I stood in the hallway, feeling helpless. The bell rang for 5th period, but I couldn't make myself move. Students rushed past me to class. I should have been heading to English, but instead, I was stuck in this nightmare. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Stop asking questions. I stared at it. Another buzz. This isn't your business. Another. Stay quiet or it gets worse. My hands were shaking. Someone was threatening me. Someone who had my phone number. Someone who knew I was talking to people about this. I turned and ran toward the main office. I burst through the door, and the secretary looked up startled. I need to see Detective Voss. Now. It's an emergency. The secretary picked up the phone. 2 minutes later, Detective Voss emerged from the conference room. I showed her my phone. The threatening texts. She read them, her expression darkening. When did you receive these? Just now. Like 2 minutes ago. She took my phone. I'm keeping this as evidence. Officer Reyes will issue you a temporary phone for emergency contact with your parents. Do not discuss these texts with anyone. Understood? I nodded. Detective Voss went back into the conference room. I could hear raised voices inside. Principal Garrett sounded angry. Another voice I didn't recognize was arguing back. Then silence. The door opened and Kareem walked out. His face was red and he looked furious. They think I planted a gun in someone's backpack using your phone to set up a meeting. This is insane. What did you tell them? The truth. That I was in class all of fourth period, that I haven't touched your phone in weeks, that I don't know anything about a gun. Detective Voss appeared behind Kareem. Both of you, wait in the counseling office. Don't leave campus. We walked to the counseling office and sat in the uncomfortable chairs outside Mrs. Park's door. The school counselor was in a session with someone. We could hear crying through the door. Kareem put his head in his hands. This is a nightmare. My parents are going to kill me when they find out I'm being questioned about a gun. You didn't do anything wrong. They'll figure that out. Will they? Because right now it looks like I'm the only person with access to your phone and your locker. He had a point. I hadn't thought about how bad this looked for him. Whoever set this up had been smart. They'd used my phone, my locker combination, created a trail that led to Kareem. The counseling office door opened and one of the freshman girls walked out. Her eyes were swollen from crying. She saw us and froze. They cleared me, she said quietly. I don't know who did it, but it wasn't me. She left before we could respond. That meant 4 suspects remained. Priya, Leo, David, and the other freshman girl. Unless the police were wrong and none of them had brought the gun. Unless it was someone else entirely and the green backpack was a red herring. My head hurt trying to piece this together. The threatening texts suggested someone was watching me. Someone who didn't want me investigating. That meant the person was still on campus. Still free. Still armed. Officer Banks appeared in the doorway. Kyle. Kareem. Conference room. Now. We followed him back. The conference room was more crowded now. Principal Garrett. Detective Voss. Officer Reyes. 2 more uniformed police officers I hadn't seen before. And a man in a suit who introduced himself as District Attorney Fletcher. This was getting serious. D.A. Fletcher sat down across from us. Gentlemen, we have a situation. Someone brought a loaded handgun to school today in a green backpack. We've searched 5 of the 6 suspects, all clear. That leaves 1. He paused for effect. David Nguyen has refused to consent to a search, which is his right, but it also makes him our primary suspect. We're obtaining a warrant now, but that takes time. In the meantime, David is in an office with supervision. He can't leave campus, and he can't access his locker. D.A. Fletcher leaned forward. Here's where you 2 come in. Both of you have had contact with David. Kyle, you've had classes with him. Kareem, you're in his gym period. We need to know anything you can tell us about him. Friends, social media, behavioral changes, anything that might help us understand why he'd bring a weapon to school. I thought about David. Quiet. Headphones always on. Sat in the back of every class. I'd never had a real conversation with him. I don't know him, I admitted. We've been in the same classes for 2 years, but we've never talked. Kareem nodded. Same. He keeps to himself. Never causes problems. Never participates in anything. Detective Voss pulled out her phone and showed us David's social media profile. It was sparse. No posts, no photos, just a default profile picture. He's a ghost online. No digital footprint. That's unusual for a teenager. She was right. Everyone our age lived online. The fact that David didn't was strange. D.A. Fletcher stood up. Okay, here's what's going to happen. We're going to bring David back in for another round of questioning, while we wait for the warrant. You 2 are going to stay here in case we need more information. Your parents have been called. They're on their way. My mom was coming. That meant this was really serious. She worked 40 minutes away and never left early. Kareem looked sick. His parents were strict. This was going to be bad for him even though he hadn't done anything wrong. We sat in silence waiting. 20 minutes passed, then 30. Finally, the conference room door opened and Officer Banks brought David in. David looked different. His headphones were gone. His hands were cuffed in front of him. His face was blank, completely emotionless. He sat down in the chair across from us without making eye contact. Detective Voss sat next to him. David, the warrant for your locker will be here in approximately 15 minutes. You can make this easier on yourself by consenting to the search now. Tell us what's in your backpack. Tell us why you brought it. David said nothing. He stared at the table like he was looking through it. Detective Voss tried again. David, bringing a weapon to school is serious, but your age works in your favor. If you cooperate, if you explain why you felt you needed protection, or were scared, or whatever reason you had, that helps you. Staying silent only makes this worse. David finally spoke. His voice was quiet, flat. I want a lawyer. D.A. Fletcher sighed. You have that right. We've contacted your parents. They're bringing an attorney. Until then, you won't be questioned further. They took David out. Kareem and I sat there in stunned silence. David had asked for a lawyer. That seemed like an admission of guilt. Why else would you lawyer up unless you'd actually done something wrong? But there was something about his face. That blank expression. It didn't look like guilt. It looked like resignation. Like he'd expected this to happen. Like he'd been waiting for it. My mom arrived first. She burst into the conference room and immediately hugged me. Are you okay? What's going on? They said something about a weapon? Principal Garrett explained the situation. My mom's face cycled through shock, fear, and anger. And you searched Kyle? You suspected my son? Everyone with a green backpack was questioned, Mrs. Brennan. We had to eliminate all possibilities. He's cleared, though? Completely cleared? Yes. Kyle is not a suspect. My mom's grip on my arm tightened. Then we're leaving. Now. Principal Garrett shook his head. We need him to stay in case we have more questions. About what? You just said he's cleared. You have your suspect. That boy David. So Kyle is going home. Unless you're charging him with something? D.A. Fletcher intervened. Mrs. Brennan, Your son received threatening text messages earlier today. Messages that suggest someone is trying to intimidate him into staying quiet. We believe Kyle might be a witness to something he doesn't realize he witnessed. Keeping him here keeps him safe and gives us time to investigate those threats. My mom looked at me. Threatening texts? Kyle? I showed her my phone. The messages. Her face went white. Oh my God. She turned to D.A. Fletcher. You need to find who sent these. My son is in danger. Kareem's parents arrived minutes later. His father was tall and imposing. His mother moved with quick, precise gestures that showed her agitation. They had a similar reaction to my mom. Anger that Kareem was being treated like a suspect. Relief that he'd been cleared. Fear about what this meant. The conference room was getting crowded. 6 adults plus Kareem and me plus the law enforcement. Principal Garrett suggested we move to the library. More space, more privacy. We relocated and sat around one of the large tables usually used for group projects. This felt surreal. Like a scene from a TV crime drama, except it was happening to me. In my school, in my real life. Officer Banks came in with an update. The warrant came through. We're searching David's locker now. Everyone waited. 5 minutes that felt like hours. Then Officer Banks came back. His face was grim. We found a green backpack. Inside was a loaded 9mm handgun. 15 rounds in the magazine, 1 in the chamber. My mom gasped. Kareem's mother put her hand over her mouth. That was a lot of bullets. That wasn't protection. That was planning for something terrible. D.A. Fletcher stood. Where's David now? Custody. We're processing him for bringing a weapon onto school grounds. His parents and attorney are with him. Detective Voss looked at me. Kyle, I need you to think very carefully. Did David ever say anything to you about feeling threatened? About having problems with anyone? About wanting to hurt anyone? I thought back through every interaction I'd had with David. There weren't many. Passing in hallways, sitting near each other in class. Nothing significant. No, we never talked about anything personal. He was just quiet, always had his headphones on. I don't think I ever heard him speak more than a few words at a time. She nodded. What about his friends? Did you ever see him with anyone? No, he was always alone. That made it worse somehow. A kid alone with a loaded gun and 16 bullets. Kareem spoke up. Wait, there was something. In gym class about 3 weeks ago, David got into an argument with some guys. I don't remember what it was about, but I remember thinking it was weird because David never talked to anyone. And suddenly he was yelling at these guys. Detective Voss leaned forward. Who? What guys? Trevor Atkins and his friends. They're seniors, on the football team. They mess with people sometimes. Typical jock stuff. Detective Voss wrote down the names. What happened during this argument? I don't know. I was across the gym. By the time I paid attention, Coach was breaking it up. Everyone got sent to the locker room early. This was new information. David had been in a confrontation with Trevor Atkins. Trevor was exactly the kind of guy who made life hell for kids like David. Big, popular, mean when he wanted to be. I'd seen him shove freshmen into lockers, steal people's food at lunch, standard bully behavior that somehow never got him in real trouble because he was good at football and his dad donated money to the school. If Trevor had been targeting David, that might explain why David felt he needed a gun. Not justification, but explanation. Detective Voss was already on her phone calling someone. I need Trevor Atkins and his associates pulled from class. Now. 10 minutes later, Trevor walked into the library with 2 of his friends. They looked confused, not scared. Trevor saw all the adults and his expression shifted to concern. What's going on? Principal Garrett gestured for them to sit. They did. D.A. Fletcher took the lead. Trevor, we need to ask you about David Nguyen, specifically about an incident in gym class 3 weeks ago. Can you tell us what happened? Trevor looked at his friends, then back at D.A. Fletcher. I don't know what you're talking about. You got into an argument with David. The gym teacher broke it up. Ring any bells? Trevor shrugged. Oh, that wasn't anything. Just David being weird. Explain weird, Detective Voss said. Her tone was sharp. Trevor shifted uncomfortably. He accused me of taking his stuff from his locker. Said I'd been messing with him, but I hadn't. I don't even know his locker combination. What stuff did he say you took? I don't know. He was all worked up about his backpack or something. Said someone had put something in it, but I didn't do anything. Coach told us both to cool it, and that was it. Kareem and I exchanged looks. David had accused Trevor of planting something in his backpack 3 weeks ago, and today, David had a gun in his backpack. This wasn't coincidence. D.A. Fletcher leaned forward. Trevor, did you or any of your friends put anything in David's backpack at any time? No, I swear. We don't even talk to that kid. He's a loner, keeps to himself. We have nothing to do with him. One of Trevor's friends spoke up. Actually, Trevor, remember Halloween? You took that kid's backpack as a joke, made him chase you around for it. Trevor's face went red. That wasn't David's backpack. Yeah, it was. It was green. You grabbed it off the floor during lunch and ran around with it before giving it back. Trevor looked trapped. That was just a joke. I gave it back. Nothing happened. Detective Voss stood. So you did have access to David's backpack. You took it. For how long? Like 2 minutes. Maybe 3. It was just a stupid prank. Where did you take it? Just around the cafeteria. Then outside for a second. Then I gave it back. Was it ever out of your sight during those 2 or 3 minutes? Trevor thought about it. Well, I handed it to Marcus to hold while I grabbed my phone, but that was like 10 seconds. Marcus, one of Trevor's friends, nodded. Yeah, Trevor gave it to me, but I didn't do anything with it. Just held it. Where were you when he handed it to you? Outside, by the gym entrance. Everything clicked into place. The text message mentioned meeting by the gym entrance. Trevor had taken David's backpack outside by the gym entrance. Someone had used those few minutes to plant something. Maybe not the gun, maybe something else. But it established that David's backpack had been compromised, that someone had access to it without his knowledge. Detective Voss was already making phone calls. Within minutes, more police arrived. Trevor and his friends were separated and questioned individually. Their phones were confiscated, their lockers searched. The scope of the investigation was expanding beyond David. 2 hours later, D.A. Fletcher called everyone back together. The library had become command central for this investigation. He looked tired. Here's what we know. Trevor Atkins took David's backpack on Halloween as a prank. During the time Trevor had possession of it, multiple people had the opportunity to access it. Trevor claims he gave the backpack to Marcus Wiley, who held it for approximately 30 seconds. Marcus claims he set it down on a bench while he tied his shoe. During that time, it was unattended. Multiple students were in that area. We're pulling surveillance footage now, he continued. David Nguyen has maintained his silence despite us finding the gun in his locker. His attorney is arguing that David never touched that gun, that someone planted it in his backpack and he didn't know it was there until we searched him today. The problem is, we have no way to prove that either way without evidence. My mom raised her hand. What about fingerprints on the gun? Being processed now. Results will take a few days. But if David never touched it, there won't be any prints. Or if he did handle it even once, his prints will be on it and his defense falls apart. Kareem spoke up. But he asked for a lawyer immediately, before you even found the gun. That seems like he knew it was there. D.A. Fletcher nodded. That's the prosecution's argument, that his immediate request for counsel indicates consciousness of guilt. But his attorney is arguing that a scared teenager asking for legal protection is reasonable regardless of guilt or innocence. It was a legal gray area. David could be guilty, or he could be innocent and terrified. We wouldn't know until the fingerprint results came back. In the meantime, David was in police custody. School was on lockdown, and 6 green backpack owners had been caught in the crossfire. Detective Voss got a call. She listened, her expression changing. She hung up and turned to the group. Surveillance footage from Halloween just came through. We're reviewing it now. We waited while she watched something on her tablet. Her eyes moved back and forth tracking the video. Then she stopped, rewound, watched again. She looked up. We have something. Kyle, I need you to look at this. She handed me the tablet. The video showed the area outside the gym doors. Timestamp, Halloween, 12:43 p.m. I saw Trevor running with a green backpack. Saw him hand it to Marcus. Saw Marcus set it down on the bench. Then I saw someone else. A figure in a hood walked past, stopped, knelt down like they were tying their shoe. But their hands went into the backpack. Just for a second. Then they stood and walked away. Detective Voss paused the video on the hooded figure. Do you recognize this person? I studied the frame. The person was wearing a black hoodie and jeans, medium build. Could be anyone. No, I can't tell who it is. She forwarded the video frame by frame. The person turned slightly and the hood slipped back just enough to show part of their face. My stomach dropped. I knew that face. That's Leo. Leo from the cafeteria. The basketball player who was questioned with us. Detective Voss nodded slowly. That's what I thought too. Leo Martinez. Wait, that name's forbidden. Leo Franklin. He was one of the 6 people with green backpacks. Everything was connecting. Leo had planted the gun in David's backpack. But why? What did Leo gain from framing David? Detective Voss was already sending officers to find Leo. He should be in class somewhere. Or maybe he'd fled when he realized the investigation was getting close. I thought about Leo's behavior earlier. He'd been nervous during questioning but not scared. More like anxious. Waiting for something. Maybe waiting to see if they'd figure it out. If they'd find the evidence connecting him to this. 5 minutes later, officers came back empty-handed. Leo wasn't in class. His last period teacher hadn't seen him. His locker was empty. He'd left campus. D.A. Fletcher swore under his breath. Put out an alert. Leo Franklin, 17 years old, medium build, last seen wearing his basketball jersey. He's a flight risk and potentially armed. Potentially armed? Wait, do you think Leo has another gun? We have to assume he does. If he planted one gun in David's backpack, he might have others. And if he's running, he's desperate. Desperate people do dangerous things. My mom pulled me closer. Kyle is not staying here. You said yourself Leo might be armed. I'm taking my son home. Now. This time no one argued. My mom drove me home in silence. When we got there, she locked every door and window, made me sit in the living room while she called my dad at work. I could hear her voice rising as she explained everything. My dad came home an hour later and the 3 of us sat together trying to process what had happened. My phone rang. The temporary phone the police had given me. Detective Voss's name appeared on the screen. I answered. Kyle, we found Leo. He was at the bus station trying to buy a ticket to Chicago. He's in custody. He's talking. And you need to hear what he's saying. She put me on speaker. I could hear Leo's voice in the background. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I just wanted to scare him. David ruined my life and nobody cared. Nobody did anything. So I decided to ruin his life back. Detective Voss asked what David had done. He reported me for cheating last semester, got me suspended from the basketball team for 3 games. College scouts were watching those games. I lost my scholarship offers because of him, because he couldn't mind his own business. So, I decided to teach him a lesson. Leo's voice was shaking. I took my dad's gun from his safe, planted it in David's backpack that day at Halloween. Then I waited. I was going to call in an anonymous tip this week, but then Principal Garrett found out some other way. I don't know how. Detective Voss spoke. Principal Garrett received an anonymous note this morning. It said there was a gun in a green backpack and it would be used today. We're still trying to trace who sent that note. Do you know who sent it? No, that wasn't me. I was waiting until next week. I wanted David to suffer longer first. Someone else must have known. There was a pause. Wait, unless... Leo trailed off. Unless what? Leo's voice got quieter. Unless David knew. What if David found the gun weeks ago and kept it? What if he was actually planning to use it today? What if I accidentally gave a weapon to someone who actually wanted to hurt people? The call ended. I sat there stunned. Leo had planted the gun to frame David for revenge. But someone else had sent the tip to the principal, and that person knew about the gun, which meant either David had found it and told someone, or someone else had been watching this whole situation unfold. Either way, there were more players in this than we'd realized. Detective Voss called back 10 minutes later. We confronted David with Leo's confession. David confirmed he found the gun in his backpack 2 weeks ago. He didn't tell anyone because he was afraid he'd be blamed for it. He'd been carrying it around in his backpack, not knowing what to do with it. He was going to throw it away this weekend. Who sent the tip to Principal Garrett? I asked. David says he doesn't know. He never told anyone about finding the gun. Detective Voss paused. Which means someone else saw him with it. Someone who knew what Leo had done. Someone who decided today was the day to expose it. The investigation continued for days. Leo was charged with multiple felonies, including unlawful possession of a firearm, theft of a firearm, and conspiracy to commit false reporting. His basketball career was over. His college prospects destroyed. David was cleared of all charges, but the trauma of the experience had marked him. He transferred schools the following week. Trevor and his friends got suspended for the backpack incident. My name and Kareem's were cleared completely. But the question remained. Who sent the anonymous note to Principal Garrett? The police analyzed the handwriting, traced the paper, checked surveillance footage. Nothing. Whoever sent it had been careful, had been watching, had known exactly when to intervene. 2 months later, I got a text from an unknown number. You asked who sent the note. I did. David's locker was next to mine. I saw him staring at the gun every day during passing periods, looking more and more desperate. I knew something was going to happen. I couldn't stand by and watch. I tried to respond, but the number was disconnected. I showed the text to Detective Voss, but she said, without more information, there was nothing they could do. Someone out there had been watching the whole time, had seen the tragedy building, and had stopped it before it erupted. An anonymous hero who'd saved lives and disappeared back into obscurity. School returned to normal slowly. Green backpacks became less common. Principal Garrett implemented new security measures, metal detectors, random locker searches, counseling resources. It helped, but the fear lingered. That day had shown us how close we'd come to disaster, how a prank, a grudge, and a moment of access had nearly resulted in something unthinkable. I saw Priya in the hallway one day, months later. She smiled at me, a sad understanding in her eyes. We'd been through something together, the 6 of us who'd raised our hands that day. We'd carry that bond and that trauma forever. David never came back to our school, but I heard he was doing better at his new one. Leo spent 3 years in juvenile detention before being released with a record that would follow him forever. Trevor graduated and faded into obscurity, his football career ending without the scholarships he'd once expected. And me? I graduated, went to college, moved forward. But I never forgot the day Principal Garrett stormed into lunch screaming about green backpacks. The day I learned that random chance and wrong place, wrong time could turn anyone into a suspect. The day I learned that heroes don't always reveal themselves, and sometimes justice is quieter than we expect. Sometimes it's just an anonymous note, sent at exactly the right moment, by someone who cared enough to act. Thanks for watching till the end. Make sure to subscribe and like to not miss the next story.